I have a little bit of cooking history as well. How was it for you in the kitchen, where boiling, there's energy, there's rock and roll, right? There is tension in the air. You can cut it. You can, especially if things are high on stake. The opening, our first restaurant opening. How is that translated into your experience in your day to day? How have you managed this with your teams? What how you have created the space so that people can be, but also experiencing all the emotions. I can imagine in a kitchen is not only the emotion of happiness, is not only the emotion of everything is sunshine. There's also anger, right? There's also party happiness. There's every emotion in the room. And so how was that for you? How have you translated this for yourself into the kitchen, and how was that experience? And what were your challenges in this? And just try to imagine that in this kind of situations where emotions are really present.
I really appreciate that you're taking this back to the culinary world because it's because of that circumstance that is entirely true. Everything you've said um, is true, and yeah, when
Mm,
excuse my French, but when shit hits the fan, that
yeah.
situation you just described is on steroids. But when that happens, it's too late because this
Hmm.
is game time. What you're describing, what it takes is a lot of practice, and that is really where you set yourself up for success in the kitchen. It's in between service shifts where you actually set yourself up for success or failure. What I also like about you taking this back to culinary art is because it's culinary art is very hierarchical.
Hmm.
It's almost a
Yeah.
military style operation. However, that is successful in my point of view as long as we're talking about standard operation procedures. I mean, everything needs to be in the same place at all times. Every operation needs to be executed in the same way. And one of the most important things in a kitchen is the way people navigate around each other. So the empty space to use for your creativity is very important to manage. That's where the military operation stops, because what an executive chef is someone with a very special skill set that is very seldom among chefs. The executive chef is somewhat the link between the talent in the kitchen and the customer out in the guest room, but also out in the world. The executive chef is the link to the maître d'hôtel, to the person, the position that leads the service. Hence, the executive chef is not the cook. It is an empathic, well spoken, calm leader that allows everyone else to cook and use their talent to their best abilities and empowers them to bring everything they have to the table. And in order for them to bring everything they have, they also need to be in on the process of, well, what do we cook? Because it just doesn't help that I am giving my French fish dish to the Argentinian
Mm.
beef. So they need to be in on the process of how do we use the talents that we have for the best outcome. And the executive chef is again the one who is behind the pack, letting the sous chef do all the heavy lifting that you described and make sure no
Mm.
one gets lost. That is how I like to successfully lead a kitchen.
So you would say it takes more than just one person with different skills who interact and who are also able to correct the other person.
Absolutely. And I believe this is true for all leadership styles. I said earlier in this conversation that I believe the future should be horizontal as opposed to vertical. And it comes up again now because to me, a leader is not someone who rises above the rest. No, it's just someone with a very special skill talent. And that skill set is leadership. But it's the leader is never as good as the talent who's doing one special skill day in and day out. It's a different skill set, and they're equal, and that's where it becomes horizontal. And only in horizontal you can actually also lead like a wolf pack forward. If it becomes vertical, it becomes scarce, it becomes a privilege, it becomes a me against you. And that, in my point of view, is the root of all evil. Because we're social animals. We're not supposed to compete. We're supposed to support.